Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2018. No, 2020. We've been coming live to you every weekday since March 18th, 2020. Today is March 31st, 2025. It is a blessing to be with you, as it has been for these last 5+ years, to come together to learn Torah, to find each other, and to say, as Sandy just did, Boker Tov. And Rachel, it's good to see you. Shush, and Lisa, Jack, Jonathan, Boker Tov. Linda and Amy, it's good to see you too. Shari, day 14 in the hospital for you, my friend, and hoping for better news for you too. Giving you a lot of blessing, we all are. Cecile and Dale, Tara and Chana, good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Let's see who else is here. Marcia and Anya, Haley and Debbie, Carl and Adrian, Booker Tov, Arlene and Deborah, Lydia, Tziona and Corinne, good morning. Rebecca, nice to see you. Been loving the music that you're creating. I watched a video or two the other day. It is good, Chana, that daylight savings is finally in Israel, so we are able to be closer to each other. So it's good to see you. Gail and Patty, Judy and Rosa, Natalia and Amy, Boker Tov. Thank you, Penny. It is broadcast 1272. Wow, there are a lot of people on my screen. I don't want to miss anybody. I'm going to do this quick. Barbara and Ron, Barry and Joyce, good morning. Anya, yes, I saw that. I'm going to mention that too. Linda and Deborah, Arlene, good to see you. Ayala, Stanley, sending love to you and Diane in Tokyo. And Ellen and Rose, Amy and Helen, Ashley, Rosa, also in Malta. You're back to regular time. Glad that makes it a little bit simpler for you. Wilhelmina, good to see you. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. Michelle, and I'm not sure who beautifully Jewish is, but I agree. It is beautiful. All right. Catherine, sending love to Australia. Deborah, I'm glad everyone's okay after last night's storms. Okay. Here we go, everybody. 1 second, I'm going to do that. Okay. Let's take a breath, everyone. Sing a bracha, learn some Torah. לעסוק בדברי תורה, לעסוק בדברי תורה, הפוך בה והפוך בה, לעסוק בדברי תורה. דדיה לה 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 לה, דדיה לה לה לה. So good morning, everyone. Chodesh Tov. It is the beginning of the month of Nisan, which tells us that Pesach is not too far off. I hope that doesn't give you any reason for concern. We're never actually ready, so let's prepare. I also wanted to dedicate today's Torah to my beloved daughter, who turns 23 today. What a gift it is to watch her emerge as an adult who might even change the world, as the world blessed her when she was born. So to my Ariel, thank you for sharing this with me. Happy birthday. Today is also the Trans Day of Visibility. And given that our world, especially in the United States right now, has made it less safe for people who are trans to be who they are and to be seen, we're going to counter that with extra power and say to our trans friends, we see you. You are created in the image of God. And today's Torah is for you too. Torah is always for you, just as it is for all images of God, but especially today. So, with those dedications, I also wanted to share that, and I'm sure some of us saw this, there was a terrible car accident in Midwood in the section of Brooklyn over Shabbat, which killed members of a family, mother and I believe one of their children. And so we are holding them in our hearts today. Arlene, you're sharing that one of your grandsons turns 18 today. Happy birthday to one of your grandsons. Okay. That is a lot of introductory stuff, and it's all important, and it's all urgent. So we're going to hold it all. And in fact, that gives us the chance to begin this Torah portion on our 227th broadcast. I believe that's correct. And on day 542 since October 7th. Arlene, thank you for correcting me. Very important. It was a mother and 3 daughters who were killed on Shabbat. I don't want to leave anyone out. And speaking of not leaving anyone out, I know that I'm doing a lot of the intro stuff. Ron is sharing that his granddaughter Shira, who lives in Efrat, is turning 21 today. Okay. Well, let me say it this way. Instead of introducing the book of Vayikra, the book of Leviticus, in the way that I was going to, let me simply say, look how messy it is to try to hold all of this. That's actually the point of all of this. If you pay attention to the way the Torah shifts from Exodus to Leviticus, from Shmot to Vayikra, you know that it goes from story, which is hardly simple, but is linear, from a path that began with degradation, with enslavement, to liberation, with all of its intensity. It's a linear path into the desert, to Sinai, from Sinai forward. And yes, there are ups and downs. Guess who joined us, everybody? Ariel, my beautiful daughter. Happy birthday. You have so much happy birthday energy. She's on Instagram. Coming to you from everybody in Facebook and everybody on Instagram. Happy birthday, my love. Today's Torah is for you. When you watch the shift from Shmot to Vayikra, the power is not only because we've gotten to this place where the Mishkan, the tabernacle, is completed, God's energy flows in it, above it, visibly, we see it, and then we get to the place where we begin Vayikra, and Vayikra begins with such a different tone. In fact, the entire book is called Torah Kohanim, right? The Torah of priests. And it is so different because Shemot, the story is about all of us, but it seems, if you only look at the surface, that Vayikra is only for some of us. In truth, friends, Vayikra is about how the priests, how the Kohanim conduct the service, the Avodah. And that must be done right for everyone's sake, but the rules are for everyone. The rules which guide the priests how to conduct themselves, how to dress, they begin with how to offer sacrifices and how to deal with blood. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of us, when we get to Vayikra, are not as happy as when we get to Shmot. Because the blood is so messy. It's so messy. But I want to make a point about that without looking at any specific pasuk today, without looking at one verse, looking at the big ideas. Life is messy. Life is messy. And not to be graphic about it, but life is bloody too. We have so much work ahead of us, and we always do, because we live in a world where boundaries are barely respected, where dignity is barely maintained. Today, as I said before, is the Trans Day of Visibility. We must, if we are to be faithful to our tradition, confront these forced invisibilities and the messiness of how society conducts itself, because the image of God requires tending, and the only people who could possibly make a difference are those who can deal with a messy world. And so you might think that Vayikra, the book of Leviticus, is really just for the sons of Aaron. I want to say the descendants, but true to the Torah in its day, daughters were not considered servants in the same intimate way as sons when it came to the priests. You could be a bat Kohen, a daughter of a Kohen, and that gave you a certain kind of inheritance rights, but you were not included in the same way. So, how powerful it is for us both to read the text and to understand its world, the urgency of the priests getting it right, and to understand in a really important way that there is still invisibility in the literal words of Torah, that we are called to see through, beyond, and to extend the reach of the message, because we understand. We do understand, friends. We understand as Jews, we understand as people, we understand, some of us, as LGBTQ people, we understand as human beings, we understand as people of color, we understand as, I guess, people of of less hue. I'm not sure what to say. There is so much rendering invisible in our world. Some of the mess that we acknowledge, that we face, is, as this Torah portion points out, bloody. It's true. When we sacrifice, it rarely comes without a mess. The priests were called to take care of this fragile intimacy, the gift of giving that leaves a mark, to clean it, and to be ready for the next day's work. So too are we. So too must we be. Because the cost of invisibility is unfathomable. Invisibility is to miss the image of God. And the priests, for all the intensity of their work and the nobility of their work, the honor accorded the priests for all of that, they often did their work behind closed doors. They didn't inherit any land. And I'm not talking about the way through history the priests themselves became rich and corrupt, because power does that to people. It's another complicated dimension that we won't deal with today. But what we will say today, friends, what we will say is that invisibility is unacceptable. Today is many things. And we can learn on the trans day of visibility that to be rendered invisible is to be robbed of life itself. And too often through history, especially in the Jewish community, do we understand what it is to be not seen. These last 542 days have included brutal lessons of that, to be unseen, to be in pain and unseen. So in the name of all we've learned, but especially in celebration of what it is to be alive, in celebration of the diversity of form that is the image of God, and in appreciation for the way the priests, through their incredibly messy work, fought to keep us alive, let's do just that. Let us, as Rosa just pointed out, let's do something more to keep the hostages, our beloved 59 hostages, visible. Let's fight for all those who are rendered invisible. We're here. We are here. We are here. All of us are here. Let's make sure that everyone has the chance to say exactly that. That Hineni becomes a universal human affirmation. So with that, friends, we're going to send our hearts to the east. Everyone deserves to be seen. And for 542 days, there are those we haven't seen, whose families haven't seen them. Bring them home now. Sing with me. Kol od balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulfatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvateinu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון Virushalayim. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, my friends.